If you're looking for a large three-row family SUV with more space versus its rivals, the Chevrolet Traverse has always been a solid choice. For 2024, it gets a full redesign. I'm here on the show floor of the 2024 Chicago Auto Show. So now that we're finally seeing the new Traverse in person, let's go ahead and take a first look. So with over 123,000 units sold in 2023, the Traverse is obviously a very important model for Chevrolet, and it competes in the ever popular three-row large to mid-sized family SUV crossover segment. So as you can see, staring at the new version, it certainly has a lot of truck-like styling elements. In fact, Chevy kind of has a theme going on because behind me is the new Equinox, and this essentially just looks like the bigger brother. So you can clearly see the family resemblance. At launch, this vehicle will launch in 4 different trims, starting at the base LS. This model here is the top-of-the-line RS trim. It technically replaces the Premier and the High Country, which is interesting because the RS has always been more of a sportier option, but now Chevy is kind of doing a sporty and a more luxury option. You can see this bright red exterior color, which I believe Chevrolet calls it radiant red. You can see complements very nicely with the black bow tie logo, all the black accents in the grille. The grille itself has just gotten massively large. You can see there are some LED daytime running lights at the top. The headlights are now divorced from the actual running lights. You can see there's an LED low and high beam here. There are some functional and non-functional openings. You can see the gloss black here in the actual grille insert. Certainly looks good with the bright red. I also like the black Chevy bow tie logo. The RS in general has unique front fascia versus if you look at something like the Active trim, or the Z71 trim, which is a new off-road oriented version. Sadly, I only have this RS to show you guys here. Now underneath the hood, I can't pop the hood to show you guys the powertrain, but Chevy has replaced the old naturally aspirated V6 and the old, I believe, 2-liter turbo. In its place is a new 2.5-liter direct injection turbocharged 4-cylinder. That's right, all Traverses only come with a 4-cylinder. There is no hybrid or plug-in hybrid version or electric version for now. Output figures are 328 horsepower and 326 pound-feet of torque. So a very healthy figure. That's actually very powerful for a base engine or the only engine available. It goes out through an 8-speed automatic transmission, front-wheel drive, or the company's twin-clutch all-wheel drive is going to be available. That's going to be standard, of course, on the Z71 package. We don't have any fuel economy figures yet, but all Traverses will be rated to tow up to 5,000 pounds, so that's pretty much on par with the rest of the class. Now moving around the side profile, the one thing that the Traverse has always been strong about is the fact that it's bigger than most of its rivals. A wheelbase should be the same at around 120.9 inches. Its overall length is 206 inches long, so this is a couple inches longer versus the previous generation. It certainly gives this thing, again, a boxier, imposing stance to it. It's larger versus some rivals by a few inches, as much as like 7 inches compared to something like the Ford Explorer, for example. You can see the wheels. These wheels are included if you guys go for the RS trim. They're actually a 22-inch wheel. That's right, a 22-inch wheel on a family crossover is insane. It's riding on a 275 by 45 R22-inch tire. This RS model that you're seeing here, you can see, has the kind of sportier looking suspension setup. If you guys go for the Z71, Chevrolet actually increases the ground clearance by 1 inch. They give you all-terrain tires, and I believe they also give you skid plates. So that kind of gives the Traverse, which is kind of crazy to think, some off-road capability in your three-row family SUV. Now looking at the rest of the profile, you can see side mirrors are black painted. They're also folding and they have integrated turn signals. I also like the black accents that you find along the side of the vehicle versus the chrome. You have these black roof rails. This vehicle here also has a panoramic sunroof, which goes into the second row, which is definitely a nice touch. And then looking at the rear of the vehicle, you can see it kind of reminds me again of like a supersized Blazer or a Blazer EV, which is not a bad thing. The overall look of this car on the RS trim with the red looks good with all the black accents, the kind of a clear light design for the LED taillights. You can see there's an RS badge here, and then the RS also includes these quad outlet exhaust tips, which I like the shape actually. It's like a rectangular look to it. And if you guys look underneath behind there, there's the tow cover. Remember, this vehicle will tow up to 5,000 pounds. It also has a nice little spoiler here, rear window wiper, and then there's also a digital camera rear view mirror. Now looking at the cargo area, let's go ahead and talk about that a little bit. Now I don't have final figures just yet, but all Traverses basically come standard with a third row. You can get either 7 or 8 passenger seating depending on if you have captain's chairs. Now, Chevy doesn't have any numbers yet for this model here with the third row seat up. You can see underneath here, there's actually a very deep storage area, so that's pretty usable. Most vehicles in this class have around 20 cubic feet of space, or either between 17 to 20 cubic feet. This looks more closer to 21 cubic feet. These seats, they do power fold down, which is definitely a nice little touch. I think if I actually push that button here, you can see that will fold down the seat. And now it's not going to fold down because the second row is pushed back a little bit, but if you fold down those seats, I'd say you're probably looking at around just under 50 cubic feet. Chevrolet did say if you fold down all the seats, that expands the cargo capacity to 98 cubic feet. They're claiming that's best in class, which I believe the Grand Highlander has almost as much space. So again, if you're looking for one of the bigger three-row crossover SUVs in the class, this vehicle and of course its sister car, the GMC Acadia, are going to be it. Now moving on to the interior of this 2024 Chevrolet Traverse. Now thankfully I am allowed to sit in this model, but keep in mind this is a very early pre-production car. So Chevrolet has asked me not to turn on the screen because again, it is still kind of in its prototype stages. But as you can see, this RS trim is now technically known as the top of the line model. And you definitely get a sense that Chevrolet is kind of throwing in a little bit more luxury to go along with the sport. The one thing you're firstly going to notice are the seats. You can see this interior has this kind of black perforated leather seats with the contrasting red stitching and red accents. The seats themselves are heated and ventilated. They adjust in, I believe, 12 different ways. You also have a two-person memory over on the driver's side here. And overall, it makes a great first impression. If you guys have seen the interior, of course, on the new Blazer EV, this is going to be very familiar. Now, in terms of the steering wheel, you can see it's got a flat bottom design that's unique, I believe, to the RS trim along with the RS badging. The rim itself is very thick, so it's a nice sporty feeling steering wheel, sporty looking steering wheel. There's also some buttons here, some actual hard buttons to control the Super Cruise. You got a heated steering wheel, of course, to control the audio information. You can see there's the camera that watches your face along with the status bar for Super Cruise. So Super Cruise is available, I believe, if you guys go for the upper trims. I think it's standard on the RS, but optional on the Z71. There's also the new stocks here for the drive mode selector, or for the transmission selector. This is the 8-speed automatic. And then all Traverses get a big upgrade in terms of tech. So you have an 11-inch instrument panel over here, along with a 17.7-inch touchscreen over here. Now this system here is the latest version that runs on Android Automotive. It has Google built in. And if I couldn't find it in the spec sheets, but if this system is the same system in the Blazer EV, because it's a 17.7-inch screen, it shouldn't have Apple CarPlay, because as you guys know, Chevrolet, the Blazer EV did away with CarPlay because they believe their native system effectively replaces it, which I had a chance to review and drive sometime last year. So watch our video below via the link if you guys haven't seen that already. This system here is one of the largest screens in the industry. It's actually a little bit larger versus the screen that you find in its sister car, the Acadia, which is definitely very impressive. In terms of the dashboard materials, you can see there's a soft touch injection molded plastic with some faux stitching, some aluminum look trim, this interesting kind of black and red carbon fiber look material, which also kind of jazzes up the interior. It's very dark in here. And then in terms of the door panel, there's actually a soft touch injection molded plastic there with more of that, you know, red accented trim. And then the window controls, they have that same high quality feel that you've seen from other newer Chevy products. Over here on the center stack, you can see you have dual zone climate control, or it might actually be a tri-zone. You have a wireless phone charging pad here. There's a lot of piano black plastic, so this is going to show scratches and fingerprints if you guys have a lot of, you know, if you put your kids in here, your family in here, this is going to probably get a little bit ugly over the years, but you can see there are cup holders. You have this nice little storage area here. Again, this is a pre-production car, so ignore some of the shiny plastic areas. Underneath here, you can see there's a big storage area, which is definitely a nice touch. This is where you can put like your purse, your wallet, your keys. You can hide a few things underneath there. The center console, you can see, has a nice padded lid. Open this up, you can see there's your SD card for the navigation, but USB ports are going to be found over here where the wireless phone charging pad, which is a nice place to kind of hide it. The glove compartment, you can see, ignore that in there. It's bin style. It's damped but not lined with felt. In terms of storage, there's definitely a good amount of storage options here. I think Chevrolet has done a good job with finally modernizing this interior. And again, above me here, the bright lights will reveal the panoramic glass roof, which actually opens up to vent air. There's also a retractable shade. It goes into the second row. So again, this is all very, very, you know, important stuff that you expect in your 3-row family SUV. But let's go ahead and hop into the back seat, because I want to show you guys what the space is like. Now, obviously, this high trim that I'm showing you is only comes with captain's chairs. Now, Chevrolet says on the lower trims, you can get it with a bench, which will increase the seating capacity to 7 people. But back here, you can see I don't have final legroom figures just yet, but this is pretty much where I'd have the seat to drive. For somebody my height, you can see there's a ton of legroom here. I can stretch out, get comfortable. I can kind of cross my legs, which is nice. In terms of the headroom space, if I kind of sit back, there's a decent amount of headroom, but if you're over 6 feet tall, this sunroof does eat up a little bit into your space. The seats themselves, they do give you the ability to recline, and you can also slide them forward and back. And this is going to be important if you guys are, you know, putting some actual adults in the 3rd row, because I'll show you guys, I'll slide this forward a little bit here because I want to get into the 3rd row to show you guys the space. Now, there is a button here that you can push on the lower portion of this seat. If you push and hold that, it slides the seat forward. Now, you're also noticing the seat doesn't actually catapult forward. So if you have a child seat anchored here, you don't actually have to remove the child seat, which is a great feature. This is something that a lot of the competitors offer that I think that is great that Chevy, you know, decided to give us that. Now, as I get back here into the 3rd row, let's go ahead and put that seat back. Now, this is not with the seat all the way back. So somebody my height, back here, you can see, I'll turn on some lights, it's a little dark, but this seat is, you know, able to sit 3 people across. If I get back here, you can see this is with the seat slid forward a little bit, which offers a pretty decent amount of legroom space. Now, I don't have final figures just yet, but headroom space is pretty good. There's a USB-C charging port back here. It's all hard touch plastic. The window back here could be a little bit larger, but again, it kind of goes with the design of the exterior of the window. But overall, you can see this is not bad, but I want to point out, because The seat, if I move this all the way back, that's with it all the way back. So as you can see, with it all the way back, my knees are jammed up against the actual second row seat. Now this is not good because I've been in vehicles like the Kia Telluride and Hyundai Palisade and Toyota Grand Highlander. When the seat is all the way back, my knees aren't jammed up against the seat. So I'll be curious to see what the final legroom figures are gonna be. But just keep in mind, if you guys need the third row to carry adults that are over 6 feet tall or whatever, you're gonna have to ask the second row passenger to move their seat forward. Thankfully, there is a button back here, so I can just push that. That'll allow the seat to catapult forward. So getting in and out of the third row is definitely an easy proposition. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the class of large three-row family SUVs is very competitive. In 2023, Chevrolet managed to sell a little over 123,000 units, which is a pretty decent number. Obviously, it's about half the amount of like Toyota Highlanders or Ford Explorers, but this is still a very strong seller for Chevrolet. So after finally spending some time with the redesigned version, it's pretty impressive to see what Chevy has done. The tech in this vehicle is among the class best with that massive 17.7-inch display. The cargo space is also going to be around the best in the segment because this vehicle, again, is one of the largest vehicles at 206 inches long. I was a little surprised to see the third row isn't quite as spacious in terms of legroom as some competitors, especially considering how long the vehicle is. The second row, however, is very spacious. The front seat area also is full of tech and some premium materials. This RS trim in general, I think, also is a really nice looking vehicle, so I'll be interested to see what this vehicle is like to drive. I'll also be driving, hopefully, the sister car, the GMC Acadia, sometime later this year. Now, if you are looking to get your hands on the new Traverse, you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer. Chevrolet says it'll go on sale sometime later this year, and they'll also give us some final pricing as we get closer to that on sale date. Now, obviously, we can try to speculate what the pricing is. The current version starts at around $40,000, goes to around the mid $60,000 range. Obviously, with the improvement in tech and luxury and features, I expect this model here to be a little bit more expensive. In general, this class of vehicle has gotten more expensive, but I think that you should be able to still get one of these in the low $40,000 range if you stick with the baser model. For Redline Reviews here at the 2024 Chicago Auto Show, I'm Sofyan Bey.